The M41 Walker Bulldog was born out of the need to replace the aging M24 Chaffee light tank, which had played an important role during World War II but had become less effective as the conflict drew to a close. The Chaffee's 75mm main gun struggled to penetrate the armor of the heavier, more robust German tanks encountered later in the war, limiting its battlefield utility. In the post-war world, the Soviet Union's T-34 medium tank, now armed with an 85mm main gun, presented a formidable adversary. This growing threat catalyzed the development of a new American light tank designed to pack a more powerful punch and be air-transportable. Development of the new light tank began in 1949, leading to the creation of the T-37 pilot vehicle. Much like the M24 Chaffee, the T-37 emphasized a lightweight design to maximize mobility, but this came at the cost of reduced armor protection for both the crew and the tank systems. The T-37 prototype was initially armed with the proven American 76mm main gun, which had seen success in earlier combat engagements. Notably, the T-37 incorporated a rangefinder system, but this feature was later deemed too complex and was removed in favor of a simpler design, leading to the T-41 pilot vehicle. After extensive evaluations, the T-41 was accepted into service in 1951 as the M41 Little Bulldog. However, following the tragic death of U.S. 8th Army General Walton W. Walker during the Korean War in December 1950, the tank was renamed in his honor as the M41 Walker Bulldog. By 1953, the M41 had entered service in sufficient numbers to officially replace the M24 Chaffee within the U.S. Army, marking a new chapter in American light tank development. Visually, the M41 followed the established U.S. tank design philosophy of the time. It featured a sturdy hull set atop a tracked chassis, with the driver positioned at the front, the turret in the middle, and the engine at the rear. The tank's suspension consisted of a torsion bar system, providing the M41 with adequate cross-country mobility. 5 double-tired road wheels supported each side of the track system, with the drive sprocket located at the rear and the track idler at the front. The M41's turret, while compact, was well sloped to offer enhanced ballistic protection. Armor thickness varied but topped out at 1.5 inches, 38mm, which provided basic protection against small arms and shell fragments. The 4-man crew included a driver, tank commander, gunner, and loader. Unlike earlier tank models, the M41 did away with the need for a designated bow gunner and radio operator, streamlining crew operations. The tank's primary armament was a 76mm M32 series main gun, which was housed in a traversing turret. This gun was supported by a coaxially mounted Browning M1914A4 7.62mm machine gun, operated by the gunner, while a .50 caliber Browning M2 heavy machine gun was mounted on the turret roof for the commander. The latter weapon provided the M41 with a means to engage light armored vehicles and low-flying aircraft. Power for the M41 came from a Continental AOS 895-3 Series 6-cylinder, gasoline-fueled engine producing 500 horsepower. This engine allowed the tank to reach speeds of up to 45 miles per hour on roads, with a maximum operational range of about 100 miles. While nimble and fast for its class, the M41 had some limitations. Its gasoline engine was notoriously fuel-hungry, reducing its effective range, and its high operating noise made it difficult to approach enemy positions undetected. Additionally, the tank's cramped interior posed challenges for its crew, especially during prolonged operations. Despite these shortcomings, the M41 was a reliable and easy-to-handle vehicle. It measured 19 feet in length and 9 feet in height and weighed just under 24 tons. In terms of firepower and mobility, it was well suited for the tactical environment of the time, though its armor was insufficient against heavier Soviet tanks like the T-54/55. The M41 underwent several improvements during its production run, resulting in notable variants. The original M41 was followed by the M41A1 in 1953, which featured a hydraulically powered turret, replacing the older electrically powered system. This change freed up internal space, allowing for increased ammunition storage, with the capacity for 76mm rounds rising from 57 to 65. The M41A2, introduced in 1956, brought a more modern power plant, the Continental AOS 895-3 6-cylinder gasoline engine with fuel injection. The M41A3 designation was applied to earlier models that were retrofitted with this new engine. The chassis of the M41 also served as the basis for the M42 Duster, a mobile air defense platform equipped with dual 40mm Bofors anti-aircraft cannons. Some countries such as Brazil, Taiwan, and Thailand modified their M41s to include enhanced main guns, upgraded engines, and explosive reactive armor (ERA), extending the tank's operational lifespan. Although it saw limited deployment in the Korean War, the M41 would play a more prominent role in the Vietnam War. The South Vietnamese Army received M41s from the French and utilized them effectively against the Viet Cong and North Vietnamese forces. While the conflict in Vietnam was not defined by large-scale armored battles, the M41 proved reliable and effective in its engagements. The tank's mobility and firepower were appreciated by both American and South Vietnamese crews. However, the Vietnam War ultimately ended in defeat for the U.S. and its allies, leading to the withdrawal of American forces and the eventual collapse of South Vietnam. The M41, nonetheless, earned a solid reputation for its performance during this difficult conflict. In the U.S. Army, the M41 Walker Bulldog was eventually replaced by the more heavily armed and armored M48 Patton medium tank. Nevertheless, the M41 remained in widespread service with Allied nations long after its retirement from U.S. inventory. A total of 3,728 minutes and 41 seconds were produced, and many found their way into the hands of foreign militaries, some of which continue to operate the aging tank to this day. While its operational costs and outdated technologies have made it less attractive to modern armies, the M41 Walker Bulldog holds an important place in military history. It bridged the gap between World War II-era light tanks and the more advanced armored vehicles that would come to define Cold War battlefields. Its global reach and the various adaptations it underwent speak to the enduring legacy of this formidable light tank.